Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with a first impressions to link click. So this is our second first impressions today. We're doing two of them. Um, and this is an interesting one because I am doing a first impressions of the series literally just because of the opening. I have watched the opening dozens of times since I first saw it. Like, not even kidding you. It is that good. In fact, since I put up my top openings of 2022 list, which it was on, I actually think I might like it quite a bit more than I did when I first made that list. And so I think that list is already outdated because I think this would be higher up on the list. I don't know. I'd have to go through it all again and like figure like, oh, would this be higher up or what would it be better than still? But yeah, I mean, my opinions on that kind of stuff change all the time. To be fair, so I know nothing about this series except from what I can gather from the opening and the fact that I believe this is actually Chinese. Like this isn't like a Japanese made anime to my knowledge. From what I heard, this is Chinese made, which there are a few series like that gain kind of anime popularity and attention and whatnot, and are kind of lumped in with anime. Um, there have been others like that here and there. Not usually like a huge amount, but still. So that's really interesting that this is kind of lumped in with the same kind of stuff. It's I guess technically not an anime by that standard though, but we're just gonna consider it one because I don't know what else you would call it, honestly. It's basically the same thing. It has this, from what I gather, it has the same kind of style and whatnot. But the opening. So the opening is excessively catchy. I have that song on my playlist because it's a fantastic song. Um, and it mostly has characters in like either standing or sitting around and doing like this kind of like dance thing with their hands, which is apparently a real thing because I saw a video of someone doing those moves from the opening. Specifically, it's from the opening. And it's like a real person doing those moves. It's like, how do you move like that? It is so wild, but also so fucking cool. It's like, how do you move your body like that? Your arms and your hands and stuff. It's like it's kind of like when you see like on TikTok or whatever, you see those people who like kind of do like the weird robotic dance moves where it's like, oh, their head is completely still, but their body's like moving like on a swivel and shit. And it's like, how the fuck do you move like that? Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, there's a guy on America's Got Talent. I think he won America's Got Talent actually, but who did a kind of dancing like that. Um, it's so fucking wild. Um, and it blows my mind that's actually a thing. But like I can't really gather too much from the opening, but it seems to focus on two male characters. And I don't know if this is like a yaoi or anything, or even like kind of a light one, um, or even just something that kind of just hints at that possibility, but doesn't actually confirm anything. There are quite a few shows like that. Um, and the opening, like the visuals themselves, don't actually really tell you anything about what it could be about. I'm more interested in the lyrics of the song because the song talks about like the song's called like "Dive Back in Time," and so I'm wondering if like if is it like time travel or is it like more like some kind of like drama kind of thing involving like characters like looking at their past and everything and dealing with maybe the issues of their past, stuff like that. I don't know. I have very little to go off of with this series, but I am very interested just based on the opening. And I have had a mixed a mixed ratio of shows that I have checked out based on that alone. There have been some shows that I've checked out based entirely on the opening that have been pretty damn good, actually. And there's some shows I checked out based on the opening that I didn't like. Angel Beats comes to mind with that. It's like the opening for Angel Beats is so fucking good. Not just the song, the opening in general, but especially the song. Um, it's so fucking good. The anime is not. Ergo Proxy's another example. And there's many, many others. Um, but the point is, this is one of those shows that I am checking out solely for that reason. That I want, I love the opening so much that I want to see what this series actually has to offer. Um, so yeah, I guess we're just gonna get into this and find out, and hopefully, this will end up being a series that I enjoy. Hopefully, it'll be one that we want to continue at some point in the future, but we'll see. And if you're new here, and I think I might have neglected to say this in the most previous recent first impressions videos, but if you're new here, what a first impressions is basically we give the series a chance based on one, usually one, but sometimes maybe two episodes. Um, and I determine, is this something I want to react to in the future? Is this something I want to bring back as a full series? If it is, then I put it onto my list. It is added to my list, and I come back to it at some point in the future. If it is not, it means I either want to watch it on my own time, or I want to not watch it, basically. It's kind of one or the other, if I don't choose to react to it. But if I do choose to react to it, like I said, it comes at some point in the future. There's already a good number of donation reward, or not donation reward, first impressions reactions on the list, and it usually takes up a slot on our schedule. So it's like, oh, this slot is specifically for first impressions rewards. For example, our current one is Cobra Kai. That was a first impressions series, and so yeah. Um, but also, things can change, and we'll just see kind of how it goes. I don't know. And if it's put on the list, it might not necessarily be like after everything else that comes up. It's basically I just like choose whichever one to go next that I want to go with. So anywho, we're just gonna get this started and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in. Everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I don't know if you can see it on camera right now. Here, I'll get a little closer just for the moment. I'm legitimately crying. um, I'm sorry, it's just, I'm in shock. Like, I genuinely didn't expect that at the end. Like, I saw, like, when the guy came up to her and, like, he looked so shady, and I was kind of worried, but then it's like, we got the reveal that, like, she was, her corpse, her dead body was found in the river, and it's like, you know that kind of meme, I think it comes from Simpsons, I want to say? Yeah, I think it's from Simpsons. Um, you know that meme where it's like, you can pinpoint the exact moment the heart breaks? I feel like I feel like I just experienced that really heavily. I don't know if it's because of this episode making us empathize for this character. And it very clearly was trying to do that. Like, that was very clearly the point. With how he, like, how it was going with while he was inside of her body and how he was controlling her and everything. And we got to find out about, like, the shit she was going through at work, but also, like, her family life and all. And so it's like you just really start to care about this girl. Like, you see the sexual assault that is almost that almost happens from her boss. You see that she's had a tough family life with her parents not always getting along. You see that she's basically dealing with poor quality food that's not really that fresh, it seems. If that maggot was anything to go by. It's, and then, like, it makes you care. It makes you empathize and sympathize with her. And then you see, like, the guy who's inside her, I don't know the names yet. He tries to help her out by reconnecting her with her family. He tries to help reconnect her with her parents and all. And it gets her fucking killed. It's like, just the moment it revealed that, like, there have been multiple things, obviously, that, like, get to me. But I feel like it's been a while since my heart dropped that fucking hard. Like, the tears started flowing. I am really fucking upset about that. Because, again, because the episode made us care. It puts forth so much effort into making us care about this girl. To making us feel bad for her. To making us empathize with her. That when that hits at the end, especially after you find out that that he did interfere, and seeing that, like, okay, his partner was saying, like, you can't interfere, you can't do this, it could change things, but seeing that him literally trying to help her caused her death is the most heartbreakingly tragic possible ending for this. And it makes me so fucking sad. It just, oh my god. How can you end on a note like that? I mean, it gets the point across, it gets the idea across that you can't interfere with this, that it can cause horrible shit to happen. That you have to go, like, by the books, that you have to do things to the number. But, oh my god, like, that hurt really badly. And I'm hammering this in because I've said this is one of those things that I've said before, saying again. If a series can make me cry, if a series can make me genuinely cry, it's something special. I think it's fairly fucking obvious we will be continuing with this. I was not expecting this. And even beyond that, even beyond just the emotional pull of that ending, just how fucking heartbreaking that was, this was really fucking good the entire time. The concept of them diving back in time while inhabiting someone's body to complete a mission for whatever the mission happens to be. It looks like they're being hired for the missions. And the fact that it has to be that precise and that specific and everything, and oh my god, like, it's such a good concept. Like, I talked about in the pre-thoughts how I've had kind of a hit or miss ratio when it comes to watching shows based solely on their openings. Like, my fucking god, this was one of the biggest hits in that regard. This was, like, Okay. Let me take a moment to breathe here. Because I really need to calm down because I'm like going a million miles a minute right now. When I first reacted to the first episode of Carol on Tuesday, I really felt like I had discovered something truly special. It made me cry, and it made me excited for what was to come. And that series became one of my all-time favorite shows. It's still up there for me. And it probably always will be. Unless other shows just come along that are better and just kind of push it out of the way, which I'm all good for, by the way. But it's always going to be that good for me. And it's one of the few shows that I have almost nothing wrong with. Like, I talk about all the time that that every show like has bad episodes and all. I don't think Carol on Tuesday has a single bad episode. Maybe a couple parts that could be a little better, but none of the episodes are bad. Like, every single episode is great and adds extremely high value to the show. It's just a couple little parts of it, a couple little like moments or aspects of the series that could be changed a little bit. It's one of the closest shows for me to actually being perfect in its execution. And that's saying something. But when I first watched that first episode, the point I'm trying to get at here is it not just impressed me. It not just made me cry. It astounded me. It wowed me on a whole new level that I don't think I had really experienced before. Even some of my other favorite shows like The Owl House, it's like the first episode did not wow me like that. This was on that level for me. That's the point I'm getting at. That's where this was all leading up to. This was on that level for me. I would honestly, without hesitation, without any irony, say this is one of the best series premieres I have ever seen. And I would say that about Carol on Tuesday as well. This is one of the best series premieres I have ever seen. And I am both really fucking hyped about that, but also a little scared because I've seen shows with good premieres that ended up going down the drain. Maybe not completely that bad, but have ended up not living up to the hype of that initial premiere. But this premiere was like so fucking good that it's blowing my mind, honestly. Like, I always hoped but never really expected to find a premiere as powerful and impactful to me as Carol on Tuesdays. I always hoped for that. I always wanted that. And I am so fucking happy that I got that here. And I'm so fucking happy it lived up to the opening. Again, I have watched that opening dozens of times since the first time I saw it. And that might even be lowballing it. And I've listened to the song just as much, just on its own. It's on my music playlist, and it's one of the first options, so anytime I put that on, it's like I start from the beginning every time, and so I hear it all the time. But it's like, I love the opening so much. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. And I am so fucking happy that this first episode, lived up to that hype. Because every time I see a series where the opening is amazing and the actual show doesn't live up to that hype, it is one of the most disappointing feelings for me. Again, the likes of Ergo Proxy, the likes of Angel Beats. There's one other that I just can't think of the name right now. I know the song in the opening is by Oasis, the band Oasis. I just can't think of the name of the series. But yeah, it's like whenever I see a series that has a dope ass opening but doesn't live up to it, it is one of the most disappointing feelings, because it's like the opening is like should be giving you a good feel for what the series is going to be like, right? That's kind of one of the purposes of the opening. And this one I feel like doesn't exactly tell you what the series is going to be about at all. This one I would actually put it more into the same category as Death Parade's opening. It's so fucking good, so fucking catchy, so fucking fun, but does not give you an accurate representation of the series at all. It doesn't tell you what this series is going to be like, because Death Parade's opening is so fun and boppy, and it's like, you know, this disco rock kind of sound, because it's Bradio, and that's their sound. But then you actually watch Death Parade, and it's like, oh fuck, this is really fucking dark. Like, oh my god. Like, this series is horrifically dark. It's actually extremely heavy. But the opening doesn't make you think it will be. Like, there's hints in the opening. If you actually pay attention, there are a lot of hints that it has a darkness to it. But the opening is still very, very high energy, very fun, very poppy. It's like you don't get that feeling that it's a dark, intense, heavy show. But that's what the series is like. And I kind of like that, oh god, what's the word? There's a word for that. I like how different that is. I can't think of the word. I like how much that goes against the actual series, and how it, because you want the opening to represent the series, but at the same time, when it seemingly purposefully goes against that idea, it's also kind of rad when it does that. It's really cool when it purposefully, like, lures you into this almost false sense of security. Because goddamn, I was not prepared for this series. I was not prepared for how heavy and emotional this was gonna get. I was not prepared for that ending. Like, my heart broke so fucking hard when it revealed she died. Like, especially because of what you were seeing directly beforehand. She was running to try and make up with her parents, and she was like, they sent her food. They were gonna be bringing her other stuff, and she was gonna go meet with them, and like it was looking so good and so positive and so hopeful, and then, oh my god. Like, I could probably look at the reaction right now. I could probably bring up that video, and I could probably pinpoint the exact moment where my heart broke. I could probably pinpoint the exact, like, millisecond, practically, where, like, it just completely dropped. And it's like every bit of sadness, every bit of just depression and emotion just hit me like a brick wall right at once, and it was, oh my god. Like, I don't know if you've ever felt that while watching something, but I don't want to say it's the worst feeling in the world, but it is hard to sit through. Like, if you ever watch something and you just feel like that heavy sadness, like deep, just visceral sadness hit you that hard, that sudden, it is just so intense. Like, and as someone who's dealt with depression, it it almost kind of scared me how intense and heavy and just real that was. like this was like not like, oh, I feel sad for this character. This was tragic and all, like, but I'll get over it. No, this is like, this is gonna stick with me. Like, this is, I could have nightmares about this. I am not even kidding you. It was that intense for me. That was how intense that sadness that hit me was. Like, I'm still emotional over it. I still, like, I feel tears still welling up in my eyes over it, just talking about it. It's like, my God. But this is very much a good thing. So it's like, that's why I didn't want to say, like, it's the worst feeling in the world, because it's actually one of the best feelings in the world. And not because of what happened. That's horrific and absolutely tragic as fuck, but because that's how invested I became in this. That's how, just how much I got into this series. And how much this seemingly inconsequential character won me over so hard, with barely even seeing her, you know? Like, most of the time it was the one dude in her body. Like, we barely actually saw her. But the writing was so solid, the character work was so on point, that I empathized and cared so greatly for her, that her dying, like, was just the worst feeling. It was just, it hurt me so fucking bad. Like, that's impressive. That is impressive as fuck. That is genuinely, like, breathtakingly astounding to me. And I know I've mostly just been talking about how I feel about this, but I'm sorry, that's kind of my biggest takeaway from this. Like, yeah, the plot was awesome. Yeah, there's heavy moral implications with this, like I said in the pre-thought, or in the reaction rather. Yeah, it's extremely well animated. It's well voice acted. It's like, it's great in all of those aspects. But the emotional weight that this put on me was so heavy, was so intense, and so beautifully done, that is my biggest takeaway from this. This series made me care. But above and beyond that, it made me 100% invested in seeing where this goes. And I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to handle it. This is 100% going to be a reaction series on the channel. It's going to be put in the future. Honestly, I could see myself even getting to it before a lot of the other stuff on the list currently. I very much want to continue this sooner rather than later. I am very excited for this series. I am, like, really fucking excited for this. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of Link Click? Were you as intensely impressed as I was? Or did you find some things to be a little unclear about or whatnot? Or just whatever your opinions are, let me know down below. Whatever they are perfectly valid. Everyone is entitled to their own thoughts on any piece of media. Don't just take my word for it. Make your own thoughts. Form your own conclusions. But I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your conclusions. So tell me in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.